Hello everyone. On behalf of myself, Cathy McEwen, Deputy Provost of Renfrewshire, and Jim Fletcher, Provost of East Renfrewshire, we would like to welcome you today to both our Council's joint Holocaust Memorial Day event. We are pleased that you're able to join us to learn about Holocaust Memorial Day, to remember those who were murdered and reflect on how we can take action to create a better future together. This virtual event will last for approximately 30 minutes, and along with music from our schools, it will feature the experience of people who survived the Holocaust and genocide. In just a moment, we will hear from Bea Green, a survivor of the Holocaust, who will share her story with us. We do hope that you will find this event moving, informative and engaging, and that it will inspire you to take action for a safer future. Towards the end of the virtual event, there will be an opportunity for everyone to light a candle and take part in a minute's silence. So please have a candle and a lighter ready if you would like to participate. Holocaust Memorial Day is an international day dedicated to remembering the 6 million Jews murdered during the Holocaust, alongside the millions of other people killed under Nazi persecution and in subsequent genocides in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia and Darfur. The Holocaust threatened the fabric of civilization, and genocide must still be resisted every day. Our world often feels fragile and vulnerable, and we cannot be complacent. Even in the United Kingdom, prejudice and the language of hatred must be challenged by all of us. We come today at a time when the United Kingdom is divided, with many of us experiencing uncertainty, fear and grief. Increasing levels of denial, division and misinformation in today's world means we must remain vigilant against hatred and identity-based hostility. Yet we know tens of thousands of people are coming together virtually to mark Holocaust Memorial Day in virtual events all around the United Kingdom, with the help of Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. Communities are standing in solidarity and experiencing togetherness, even while we are apart. We know that everyone who attends Holocaust Memorial Day events learn more, emphasise more deeply, and go on to take action to build a better future. The theme of Holocaust Memorial Day this year is Be the Light in the Darkness. It encourages everyone to reflect on the depths humanity can sink to, but also the way individuals and communities resisted the darkness to be the light during and after genocide. Be the light in the darkness is an affirmation and a call to action for everyone marking Holocaust Memorial Day. We can all stand in solidarity, and we can all choose to be the light in the darkness.
Well, I was born in Munich, in the capital of Bavaria. I had a bigger brother who was not always my delight, because being 4 years older than me, he liked teasing me. Apart from that, I had a nanny, and she used to take me for a walk to the nearest little park. And then I went to kindergarten, and then at the age of 6, I started school. So I was there from 6 to 7 and 7 to 8. And that's when they beat up my dad. Hitler had come to power by then, a few weeks before. and my parents took me out of this regular state primary school and put me into the Jewish school. From the moment that Hitler came to power and the incident with my dad occurred, I think I knew that I was in the category that wasn't just Bavarian, that my identity was more obviously being Jewish and different from other Bavarians. Well, it was the 10th of March 1933, which happened to be a day I was in bed with a little cold, nothing serious. And I heard the front door of our fourth floor flat banging shut, thinking it was my mum coming home from shopping and that she'd come and say hello to me, but nobody came in. Thought it was a bit odd, so I got up, opened the door to the corridor, which was opposite the bathroom, outside which were pegs that my dad always hung his clothes on. And sure enough, there was my father's suit, but it was covered in blood, which for an 8-year-old was a shock, as you can imagine. So I tiptoed down the corridor, knocked at my parents' bedroom door, opened it, and just saw my father pulling up his bedclothes so I shouldn't see his face. So I went back to bed and I lay there, I guess in sort of shock, because I couldn't understand what was going on. After that, the doctor came, and then we went to our little house in the village called Walchensee, where my dad recovered. But nobody ever told me anything. I think they tried to protect me. I think leaving Munich at midnight, for me at first, was a real adventure. I mean, it was midnight, it was my fellow cooks and my mum and my dad and my uncle with a camera. And then, of course, the time came and the train left. And it was a steam train, so it moved out very, very, very slowly. But I still saw my mum step behind my dad and dab her eyes. But she hoped that I would not see her cry. And that was the first time that the separation hit me. You know, up to then it was me getting on the train, great fun. You know, I was going to England, I knew where I was going. There were no uncertainties at that point. But when I saw my mum cry, I think it was then that the fact was that I was going to be on my own. And I was met by, I guess, what looked to me like an elderly, probably just a middle-aged lady, in a purple suit. Now, why that struck me, and I can see it now, and she greeted me by giving me her hand and said, "How do you do?" And I took her hand and I gave a little curtsy, which is what one did in my time, in my place. And I said yes. So that was my first use of English in the UK. You know, they were very nice and very helpful, but it was being thrown into the English pool at the deep end. What I really, really, really wanted, and we're now talking about first week of July, I wanted to go to school, and I was really, really keen to learn English quickly and well. And I said to myself in German, ich werde diese Sprache bemeistern. I shall master this language, and I think I have. I love English. So there was a magazine called Picture Post, and this was one of the pictures. And it wound up in our common room, and I picked it up, turned the pages, and came across my dad. I had not been in contact with my parents. I cried, and Miss Borner, who was supervising prep, took us both to the headmistress's drawing room and said to her, "Oh, she says that this is her father." And the headmistress looked at it and then looked down at me over it, and then looked again, and then said, "That is not your father, that is propaganda." I did not argue with her. That was the first time, when I was all of 14 years old, I realized that people could not understand what had gone on and what was going on in Germany.
Say this city has 10 million souls. Some are living in mansions, some are living in holes. Yet there's no place for us, my dear. Yet there's no place for us. Once we had a country and we thought it fair. Look in the atlas and you'll find it there. We cannot go there now, my dear. We cannot go there now. In the village churchyard there grows an old yew. Every spring it blossoms anew. Old passports can't do that, my dear. Old passports can't do that. The consul banged the table and said, if you've got no passport, you're officially dead. But we are still alive, my dear, but we are still alive. Went to a committee. They offered me a chair, asked me politely to return next year. But where shall we go today, my dear? But where shall we go today? Came to a public meeting. The speaker got up and said, if we let them in, they will steal our daily bread. He was talking of you and me, my dear. He was talking of you and me. Thought I heard the thunder rumbling in the sky. It was Hitler over Europe saying they must die. We were in his mind, my dear, we were in his mind. Saw a poodle in a jacket fastened with a pin. Saw a door opened and a cat let in. But they weren't German Jews, my dear, but they weren't German Jews. Went down the harbour and stood upon the quay. Saw the fish swimming as if they were free. Only 10 feet away, my dear, only 10 feet away. Walked through a wood, saw the birds in the trees. They had no politicians and sang at their ease. They weren't the human race, my dear. They weren't the human race. Dreamed I saw a building with 1,000 floors, 1,000 windows and 1,000 doors. Not one of them was ours, my dear. Not one of them was ours. Stood on a great plain in the falling snow. 10,000 soldiers marched to and fro, looking for you and me, my dear, looking for you and me.
Heavenly Father, on this day that we remember the millions of bright lights that were stolen by the darkness of the Holocaust perpetrated by the Nazi regime. On this day that we remember the millions of bright lights that were stolen by state-sponsored and arranged ethnic cleansing atrocities. We endeavor to keep those bright lights shining through acts of kindness, through standing up against hate and endeavoring to work hard in generating unity and respect. Please give us the ability to see the inner spark of beauty in each individual. Fill us with the courage required for peace and inspire us with humility to respect and be loving to one another. God, shine your light of hope into the hearts of all those around the world still suffering for being perceived as different. And shed your light into the souls of their adversaries so that they can see the wrong of their ways. May we all witness the words of hope of the prophet Micah. Then everyone will sit under their own vine and under their own fig tree, and no one will make them afraid. For the Lord Almighty has spoken. Amen.
Good evening. It has been an honour for East Renfrewshire and Renfrewshire Councils to jointly host our annual memorial, even if it is through virtual means. In East Renfrewshire, we're proud to be home to Scotland's largest Jewish population, and we enjoy a wonderful relationship with the Jewish community. So marking Holocaust Memorial Day every year is something which is extremely important to us all. While we are unable to mark this memorial together in person, I hope the survivor stories, the poetry, the prayer and music this evening provided you all with a fitting tribute to everyone who has experienced the true horror of the Holocaust and indeed the genocides which followed in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia and Darfur. You couldn't fail to be moved to hear Bia's story. We simply cannot imagine being taken away from our parents at such a young age, or indeed how the parents would have felt as they saw the train pull out of the station. The light in all the darkness for Bia and her family was being reunited after the atrocities of the Second World War had ended. This past year has been very tough for many of us, but the survivor stories remind us that while we are living in unprecedented times, those who came before us have gone through real terror and have spent their lives shining a light to ensure that it never happens again. The music you've heard throughout the memorial was provided by our fantastic young musicians from East Renfrewshire and Renfrewshire schools, and our thanks are extended to all those talented pupils and their tutors. I would like to thank the Holocaust Memorial Day Trust for the support in preparing our virtual event, as well as staff from East Renfrewshire and Renfrewshire Councils for their efforts in pulling this together. Thanks also go to Rabbi Reuben, Senior Rabbi of Scotland, for leading us in a moving prayer. The memorial will be available to watch again on our social media channels, so please share with friends, families and colleagues who weren't able to join us this evening. Gina Turkle, MBE, who survived the Holocaust, said, "We will continue to do our bit for as long as we can, secure in the knowledge that others will continue to light a candle long after us." If someone who went through such unimaginable horror can continue to do her bit, then the least we can do is to take time to mark this memorial every year and ensure that that candle stays lit. We must continue to listen to the survivors and their families and never forget what they went through. So thank you all for joining us this evening, and I hope by this time next year we will all be able to meet in person to remember. Thank you and take care.